And we're ready to roll here. Chris Marco steps in to drop the puck between Papel and McDougall. That puck is won across to the wall and sent in deep by the Titans. Back to set that up is Brogan Colloon. Up the wall, that's pinched off by Papel, and away go the Lincolns down inside the Titan zone. Number 23, McDougall, trying to get his shot. Back to the point. That shot goes off Smith's glove into the corner. After that is Reddy. Reddy back to the point. D to D there. Another shot at the net, blockered away by Smith. Up the far wall. In pursuit of that is Hill. Back to Rocco and over to Capel. Capel lifts it out to the middle, and the Lincolns dump it back inside the Titan zone, and away goes Capel. Little chip in deep, and the Titans will make the change. Lincoln's deep inside their zone, moving the puck side to side. Another D to D. That finds Kelp. Looks for his man. That's picked off. After that is Craig. Craig chasing his man. Flipped back out to the middle. Picked up there by Cunningham Lukes, and he throws it back in deep. Set up behind the Lincoln's net. Cross ice pass is out of reach. After that is Cunningham Lukes. Over to Mulholland. Mulholland finds his man in the middle. That's Frank. Frank across center. Little chip in deep. Picked up there by Bondi. Back down low. The Lincoln's defense are on that. Lincolns pick up the loose puck inside their own zone and back away across center. They go inside the Titan zone. On the far side, that's Holchek. He puts it in deep, looking for his man Stokely behind the net. That's picked off by Cunningham Lukes. Back after that again is Clark. Clark takes a hit, back to the point, quick shot. Blocked there by Stippen. He's down, and the puck in behind Smith is chipped away. Callaway sweeping that away from the net. Back to the point again. Lincolns are on it. Another shot on net is blocked by Callaway, and over into the corner it goes. Back to the point. Lincolns keep it in. That shot there by Wright is blocked again, and Smith will smother that for a whistle. Quick pace to get us started here. The Lincolns jumping off to an early run here of several shots on Smith. One of them does find the way through, but that one is swept away by Callaway to the corner. Draw deep inside the Titan zone, one back by Pizzoferrato, swept across by Mavi. That comes back out to the middle, chipped away by the Lincoln forward, and a shot on net goes just over the net. Back to the point, Lincolns are on it again. Callaway on his man, knocks him down. Back up the wall, that finds Vander Elzen. On that was Drobny. He put it back in deep, and Titans retreat back into their own zone. Pizzoferrato pokes that away from his man. Pizzoferrato back into the middle of the ice. That's poked away again. Callaway after it. Finishes the check on his man. Vander Elzen's in there. Back to the point. That's picked up by number 16, Lincoln Moore. He fires the puck wide. Recovered again by the Lincoln's defense. That's McGregor. McGregor sets up behind the Lincoln's net. Finds his man. Cross ice pass into the middle. That's Vortman. Another blocked shot there by Takis. Chip play into the middle is knocked away by the Lincoln's forward. Hill back after that. In deep, here's Tavernese. Just out of the reach of his man. We have the arm up for an icing. And that will be icing back into the Titan zone. Face off down here to the right of Smith. One again back by the Titans to the defense. Takis sweeps that in behind his own net. That's picked up by the Lincolns. Back up to the point. Shuffles into the middle. That is blocked by Hill. Hill finds Capel. He's in wide. Back to Hill. It's in low on the Lincoln zone. Picked up by Capel. He finds his man at the point. Here's Tavernese. Little shifty move here at the point. Capel, quick shot on net. That's blockered away by Calhoun. Battle on the far wall for the puck. Swept away by the Lincoln's defense. McMillan up the walls. That's ready. Across the red line, in deep on the Titans. And right on the far side, throws the puck in the middle. That's picked off by Capel, and he'll take a one-on-one run. Puts the puck in deep. Picked up by Lincoln's defense, Montesi. He finds his man on the far wall. And right down inside the Titan zone again. Mulholland's on that. Mulholland finds the end wall. Quick pass up the wall. He finds Bondi. Bondi across center. Inside the Lincoln zone. Craig into his man. Back into the middle is Oon. Oon down low for Craig. Oon pokes that off the Lincoln's defender. Back to Craig. Oon back to the point. Finds Cunningham Lukes. Quick shot on net there is blockered away again by Clune. Holzcheck flips that into the linesman. Picked up by Kelp. He's inside the Titan zone. Quick shot off the leg of Smith. Another quick shot. That's just wide. Back to the point right, keeps it in. Finds his man down on the wall. Heath across the ice. Just out of the reach of the Lincoln's forward, Clark. Picked up again. That's Kelp. Flipped up the air and to the right side of Smith into the corner. Picked up by 28, Holzcheck. Just out of reach of Lincoln's defense. The icing is waved off by the linesman, and that's recovered down there by Kelp. Moves it up the near side to Alzinga. Alzinga across the ice. Looks like ready. He flips it into the Titan zone. Frank recovers. Has that poke pucked off his stick again. Callaway finds it. Finds Frank in the middle. He's across the line. That's poked away. Quick pass across by Stippen. Kim LeMay in there. Frank picks up the puck into the middle of his own. Frank around a couple of Lincoln's defenders. Poked off his stick. Will Wright fires it up the wall to his man. Just out of reach of Callaway. That's waved off. The puck will not make it. Mavi in the Titan zone. Flips the puck to Callaway. Callaway back to Mavi. Mavi behind the Titans net. Sweeps it up the wall. That's kept in by the Lincolns. Quick pass across. Another shot on net. It's tipped on net by 17. Elzinga into the corner and fired away by Mavi. Lincoln's defense picked that up. Quick D to D and back up the ice. That's picked off. Stippen fires it back inside the Lincoln zone. Back to recover is Wright. Wright's knocked off the puck by Pizzoferrato. Vander Elzen runs into his man. Across the line come the Lincolns. Looking for the man on the wide side, and that's 1-0 Lincolns. Back after that is the Lincolns off the draw. Cross the center and into the Titan zone again, attacking. Just wide of the net. Tackus pokes that away from his man. Down inside the zone, that puck is fired out of play, and we'll reset again. So the Lincoln's goal scored by number 16, Lincoln Moore, assisted by number 8, Jacob Drobny, and number 14, Owen Vrootman at 7:53 of the first period, 1-0 Lincolns. Back after that is Papel. He throws it in down deep. Just out of the reach of Hill in the corner, and away go the Lincolns. Lincoln's carrying the play in the Titan zone again. Capel flips that out. Back to retrieve. 23 for the Lincolns is Chase McDougall. Fires up to his man. That's chipped in deep. Back to retrieve is Callaway. Callaway to Cunningham. Cunningham flips the puck up in the middle. That's knocked away by the Lincoln's defense. Zach Holzchek. 25 Stokely down low. Cycles across to the weak side. Callaway finishes his check. Cunningham. Up off the glass and out in a race here is Bondi. Lincoln seemed fine to carry the wide open pace with the Titans. Titans definitely in defense mode. Feeling each other out here. Mavi looking for his man. Plays it towards the bench. Frank chips that in down low. After that is Kim LeMay. Swept back around. That's Holzchek on the far side. He finds his middle man in the middle. That's Stokely. Flips it in down low. After that is Mavi. Mavi behind the Titans net. Flips it up to the wall. That's cut off by the Lincolns. Kim LeMay fires that puck back to Stippen. Stippen to Frank. Back to Stippen in the middle. Big save there by Calhoun off the blocker arm into the corner. Picked up by the Lincolns. Back out to the center. Takis picks that off. Stippen chips it in deep. Calhoun out to play it. That's over to Colebrook. Tavernese after that. Flips it up to the line. Fought out by Vander Elsen. Fired back in. Takis into his feet. He can't find it. Into the middle of the ice go the Lincolns again. 18. Clark just wide. Back after this again. Fired down the ice by Tavernese off a Lincoln's defender and right into Calhoun. He'll smother that for a quick whistle. Happy to be back at the rink here. Titan hockey, Brantford. Couple exhibition games in the books. This will be the final homestand for the Titans in the exhibition season of 2025. Heading to St. Mary's tomorrow night to finish off the home and home. Pizzoferrato on the draw there. Loses that to McQueen Spence. Another quick whistle and we're going to do it all again. 7:30 puck drop, I believe, tomorrow in St. Mary's, if you're able to join us or in the area. Another draw one back by McQueen Spence. Flip down the ice. Tavernese after that. Hard rim around. Finds Vander Elsen. Vander Elsen flips that into the linesman. Tavernese looking for an option. Smooth skating Rocco through the middle. Flipped in down low. Set aside by Calhoun. After that was Vander Elsen. Missed his check. Back up the wall. Sent across by the Lincolns. Inside the Titan zone was 14 Vortman, and he flips that into the goal. Smothered by Smith for another whistle. Face off down low inside the Titan zone. Papel wins that to the wall. Mulholland back to Cunningham Lukes looking for his man Capel. Just out of reach and down for icing. They'll do it again inside the Titan zone. Looked like a little bit of confusion on what the play call was there, but they'll figure that out as we go and progress through the next couple months of training and planning. Draw here to the right of Smith inside the Titan zone. Papel wins that back again. Mulholland on it. Looks for Cunningham Lukes, picks it up. They'll try it again. Flipped into the middle. Picked up by the Lincolns. On that is number 19. On the sheet here, no 19. We're working our way up there. He is McQueen Spence. Far side, that's Lincoln Moore. He passes across here. Vortman just inside the Titan zone. Another quick play across the ice. McQueen Spence just not able to tap that in on the far side. Vortman chips that deep inside the Titan zone. Cunningham Luke sets up behind the Titans net. Find Mulholland. Mulholland across. Finds Hill. Hill flips that in deep. Titans make a 5-man change. A icing call here. Picked up by Mavi behind the Titans net. We'll head down to the Lincoln zone. Case and Craig will step in to take the draw here. He wins that back. Mavi backpedals. And the Lincolns recover. Inside the Titan zone goes Reddy. Reddy chasing down his own pass into the corner. Battling for that is Mavi and Oon. Oon retreats back to his coverage spot. It's 22. Reddy flips it back inside the Titan zone. Callaway retrieves, fires that up on the glass. The puck is out now. Bondi in pursuit of the Lincoln's offense. McDougall flips that back down low inside the Titan zone. Mavi up the wall, looking for Bondi, just outside the line. Bondi wins that puck battle down inside the Lincoln zone. Little post up, quick shot at the net, blocked by the Lincoln's defender in front. Looks like that went up off a kelp. Puck doesn't make the goal line. Tavernese is on that. Finds his man in the middle. That's Kim LeMay right inside the Lincoln zone. Kim LeMay does his best to avoid a couple Lincolns. Unfortunately, couldn't keep up on his feet. Now down in the corner, that's Frank. Kim LeMay swings back in. The Lincolns pick that up. Swing it back over to Will Wright. Will Wright in the corner. Back over to McMillan. Pardon me, that was Drobny. Back inside the Titan zone, that's Tavernese. Up to Frank. Frank takes a hit from Drobny. Picked up again there just inside the zone by Colbrecht. The puck is blocked by Takis. D to D at the line. Another shot by Wright is blocked. That's Stippen. Another quick shot there. Was swatted away from Smith. And then the puck looks like it's gone out of play. And we'll have a draw here to the left of Smith inside the Titan zone. One back by Kim LeMay. Takis up to Frank. Frank finds Stippen. Stippen out and around the Lincoln's defenders. He's driving the net inside, right into the crease. That's under the blocker of Cahoon. He'll give way to the Lincoln's forward. Picked up on the wall by 17. That's Alzinga. Alzinga to Heath. Heath was looking for Clark, and offside is the call. Face off there just outside the Titan zone by Pizarrato, sawed off into the wall. Grice after that. Picked up by McGregor down inside the Lincoln zone. McGregor to McMillan, back to McGregor. McGregor steps out from behind the net into the middle. Finds his man up the wall, that's Azinga. After that again is McMillan. McMillan inside the Titan zone looking to shoot. Just drops the puck there. Pizarrato pokes it to the wall. That's picked up by 18, Jack Clark. Pizarrato picks up a loose puck and down the wall he goes. Quick shot into the feet of the Lincoln's defense, McMillan, and that's picked up by the Lincolns. Back across center, over to Callaway. Callaway finds Grice. Grice back inside the Lincoln zone, drops that puck to Vander Elsen. That shot's just wide of the net. Puck off the hand of Callaway, finds his man going down the far wall. That's 16. Lincoln Moore fires it just high and wide of the Titans' net. Up here on the wall, battling for the puck is Vander Elsen. Papel tries a chip. That knocked away by the Lincoln defense. Inside the Lincoln zone again, it's picked up by 19, McQueen Spence. McQueen Spence back inside on the backhand off the shoulder of Smith and over the net. 2.5 to go here in the first. Lincolns are down low inside the Titan zone. Mavi backhands that into the wall. Montesi passes blocked. Capel's on that. Up to Papel. Papel across the line. Looking for his man. Quick shot is in the crease. Man picked up going to the net. The referee's arm goes up. We're going to have a power play here for the Titans. .205 on the clock. We're going to have a hooking minor. To number 11 of the Lincolns. Jacob Montesi, 2 minutes for hooking. At 17:55 of the first period, and here we go. Puck is down and inside the Lincoln zone. After that is Frank and Craig. Stippin's in there digging away. .135 on the clock. Titans on the far wall. That's Stippin. He swings it down low. Kim LeMay is after that. Kept in by Takas at the line. That's chipped away. Away go the Lincolns. With 23 McDougall after Craig. Craig picks up the puck, sets up behind Titans. That is Takas. Takas working his way up the middle of the ice. Finds Kim LeMay. Kim LeMay just inside the zone. Quick pass there to Frank. Picked off by the Lincolns. Up the walls, Takas again. Takas finds Frank just inside the Lincoln zone. Frank finds his way through. Puck is still loose. Capel looking in the air. That Papel. Shot back down the ice. After that is Mulholland. Mulholland recovers. Waiting for his guys to get into place here. Up the middle goes Mulholland. He finds Oon. Oon down across the Lincoln's line. Shovels that in deep. Once again, the Lincoln's clear. Smith to set it up behind the Titans' net. Mulholland, 15 on the clock. 12, 11. Cross center. Through the Lincoln's defense. Takes a little slash and pokes that into the Lincoln's net. 5:05 on the clock. Sorry, 5.5 on the clock. Thanks, Phil. Papel steps in on the draw here inside the Lincoln zone. Lincolns are waved out. Brings in number 16, Lincoln Moore, to take the draw against Papel. Back to the point. Mulholland's on it. Quick shot from Mulholland is scooped up by Calhoun. He'll drop it. And they will call that .1 on the clock. Chris Markle gives him a quick wave over to the timekeeper's booth, and that will conclude the first period. Uneventful for the Titans. Lots of action down inside the Titans zone on goaltender Smith. First period, 15 shots for the Titans. Goaltender Lucas Smith. 10 shots for the Titans on Brogan Calhoun. First period in the books here at the Gretzky Center. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Gretzky Center. Start of the second period. Craig steps in. Wins that draw back. That's over to Rocco. Rocco back to Takis, and then deep goes Takis. After that is Bondi. Bondi back down low to Craig. Looking for Oon in the middle. That's picked off by the Lincolns. Down inside the Titan zone. Battle for it at the Titans line. Pumped in back down low by the Lincolns. After that is Tavernese into the middle. Up the ice is Stippen. He chips that in down low. Kim LeMay after that. Around the net goes Calhoun. Back down to the Titans zone. Mulholland picks up the puck behind the Titans net. Mulholland battles there with the Lincolns forward. Up the wall to Frank. Frank takes a shot from Drobny. Back inside the zone is right over to Drobny. Penalty coming up here to the Lincolns. Running a little interference there on the forecheck. We got a tripping minor coming up. That's 27, Colebrook. Marco on the call, 18:35 of the second period. Devin Colebrook, 2 minutes for tripping. Titans on to their second power play of the night. Face off down low, that's Craig. Wind to the wall. Fired back to the point by Stippen, just out of reach of Kim LeMay. Down inside the Titan zone, Kim LeMay fights off his check. Over the wall, that's Stippen. Well, a little misplay there by Lucas Smith. Finds the back of the net for the St. Mary's Lincolns, making that a 2-0 game. A shorthanded goal scored by Will Wright. Sure, that's one that Lucas Smith will want back upon review. So Will Wright, unassisted, shorthanded goal, coming at 1:52 of the second period. Back to the action here. 40 seconds to go on the power play. Behind the Titans net is Mulholland. Mulholland up the middle of the ice through the Titans zone. Weaving his way through the middle across center. Inside the Lincoln zone down deep. After that is Oon. Oon into his man Papel on the puck. Rimmed around by the Lincoln's defender. That's McGregor. all the way down to Smith behind the Titans net. Mulholland fights his man off, leaves the puck there for Joey Capel. Capel across looking for Papel. Papel gets that against the wall. Picked up there by Montesi. Montesi ahead across the line into the Titan zone. Shot there goes wide by David Heath. Battle ensues low inside the Titan zone. Coming away with it is Cunningham Lukes in behind the net. He'll flip that up. Papel on the puck. Soft chip past the Lincoln D. Down low. Picked up there by Clark. Clark around the Lincoln's net. Cross center. Inside the Titan zone. Swings out wide. Picked off there by Takis. Takis up the wall. Pizziferrato. Pizziferrato through the Lincoln's D and across the line into the net. Quick play at the net. Just overhandled that puck. Into the corner goes Pizziferrato. Up the wall into the battle. Pizziferrato back into it again. Lincoln's come away. Backhand attempt there is blocked by Hill. Back to the Lincoln's D. That's Montesi. Montesi across to Kelp. Kelp rink wide. Finds his man Clark. Clark inside the Titan zone. Shot flipped up off of Stippen. Into the corner. Near side here. Takis recovers. Takis just out of the reach of Stippen. Tipped off a Lincoln's defender and all the way down to Calhoun behind the Lincoln's net. Calhoun fires it up the wall. Picked off by Kim LeMay. They're going to call that a hand pass, and we'll get a break in the action. .45 here in the second period. Just over 5 minutes gone. Face off outside the Lincoln zone. Kim LeMay stepping in against Colebrook. Colebrook wins it back. That's Drobny. Over to Wright. Wright fires another shot down on Smith, and Smith will smother that. Inside the Titan zone. Puck's one back to the point. Will Wright to his partner, Drobny. Another shot on Smith. He'll smother that for a whistle. Face-off coming up to the right of Smith inside the Titan zone. Face off inside the Titan zone. Another quick shot on net. That hits Smith in the face. They're going to blow that down. As the helmet comes loose. Quick shot there by Declan. Ready off the draw. Titans here looking for a spark. Get a little offense going. Face off here to the left side of Smith inside the Titan zone as he buckles back down. We'll see Craig on his counterpart, Colebrook. Leaning in, Colebrook is passed away. Puck down low by Craig. Swept aside to Mavi. Mavi up the wall. That's Oon just inside the Lincoln zone. Oon on the backhand finds Callaway in the middle of the ice. That one's blocked, goes to the side of the Lincoln's net. Craig, Mavi, Callaway. Quick shot into the glove of Calhoun, and he'll smother that for a whistle. Back down to the right of Calhoun inside the Lincoln zone. Papel will step in there. Draw one by McQueen Spence. Lincoln's just inside their zones, picked off by Mulholland. He flips it back in. That's picked off again. McMillan up to the center line, flips it into the Titan zone. McGregor fires that down on Smith. He'll set that aside for Cunningham Lukes. Lukes to Mulholland. Mulholland back to Cunningham Lukes. Up the wall, he finds Capel. Capel chips it inside the Lincoln zone. After that is Hill. Lincoln's pick off that pass and back across center inside the Titan zone, just offside. Couple minors, couple goals. Fast pace by the Lincolns here in Brantford tonight, carrying most of the play. It's picked up by Tavernese up to the wall and knocked down. They're calling that a hand pass. Obviously down on the wall. Linesman Gustakis is in there talking to referee Chris Marco. They will make the call on the draw to the outside of the Titan zone. Gordon leans in. Got McQueen Spence joining him there with Pizzaferrato. Puck is sawed off and pushed back to the Lincoln's D. He'll fire that up the wall. Tavernese on that. Up to Takis, tipped in by Grice. Icing waved off. Flipped up by the Lincoln's D, kept in by Tavernese again. He'll find Takis inside the Titan zone. Up the wall, Grice chips that in deep. After that is Vanderelsen. He finishes check in behind the Lincoln's net. Tavernese pinching down. Runs into his man. He flips it out the center. That's blocked by Grice. McQueen Spence puts it in deep, and again, Tavernese is on it. Over to Takis, is picked off by the Lincolns forward. That'll be Vortman. Vortman carries around the Titan zone over to the far side. Back down low. That's over to McQueen Spence. McQueen Spence over top of the zone. Back into the middle, that's Vortman again. Quick shot on that on Smith. Looking around, and he's got that underneath of him. Just about halfway here in the second period. 2-0 Lincolns. Going to find a goalie change here. Titans opt to bring in Brock Schaus for 33. Steps in. Titans down the ice. That's Kim LeMay. Quick shot on net is quickly gloved by goaltender Calhoun for the Lincolns. So we welcome Brock Schaus to the game. U18 AAA Waterloo. Late round pick to the Bulldogs. Wearing number 33. Draw inside the Lincoln zones. One back to the Lincoln's D. Enright's on that. Up the far wall, Mavi intercepts. Another one is chipped away, and that's off Stippen and out of play. Out of town scoreboard finds Caledonia up 4-3, the end of the first in air. It's a shootout. Hamilton leads St. Catharines. Start of the second period, 3-1. London's up 4-0 on Sarnia. Start of the second period as well. Here in Brantford, 2-0 Lincolns. 9 minutes gone in the second period. Up Up the walls, Frank just inside the zone. Stippen on the far side, taps it in. Stippen scores. That is a nice play by Caleb Frank to win the puck race inside the Lincoln zone. Sweeping it across the crease to Stippen for the tap in. They don't call him Walter for nothing. That nice straight blade puts it in the back of the net. 2-1 Lincolns. Titans have life. All right, we got that all covered now. We got Stippen from Frank and Kim LeMay at 8:58 of the second period. Nice little play by Q to get that one tipped inside the Lincoln zone, and Frankie tracked it down quickly and over to Stippen for the tap-in. Block shot there by Matthew Oon finds its way out of play, and we'll have a face-off to the right of Brock Schaus. Titans penalty number 20, Tristan Hill, 2 minutes roughing at 9:55 of the second period. Hill for roughing, 9:55. So we caught that penalty there. That's Hill coming back on the ice. Puck fired away there by Mulholland is kept in by the Lincoln defender, Owen Kelp. Getting everything up to date here, just inside the booth. A little short-handed tonight, but we'll make do for exhibition. Our friend Reese Dumani calling the game tonight down in Welland, Interleague Baseball. I believe that's a championship round. I could be wrong. I'm sure Reese will fill us in when he gets back for our Saturday home opener, 1 o'clock, versus the Air Centennials here at the Wayne Gretzky Center. That'll be the 13th of September on your calendar. Call it a 1 p.m. start. Should be an exciting time. Of course, the Titans in their inaugural season knocked off the Air Centennials in exciting fashion. 7 games, 2-0 win. Exciting time for some. Puts the rest of us on watch, so to speak. Inside the Titan zone, Lincoln's carrying the play down low. Back off the wall, finds McMillan. McMillan back down low behind the Titans net. That'll find Stokely. Back up to McMillan. That's picked up by Schaus, and he'll cover for the whistle. Exciting times with the Air Centennials being in a 3-way tie for first place, catching the lucky draw of the Titans in the first round. The young and energetic team from Brantford just giving us all kinds of reasons for hope. Excellent run for a first-year program, and real proud of the way everybody performed throughout that series and throughout the season for the Titans. Obviously this year, some of the key components of that moving on. Ethan Zabo. Titans down across the Lincoln's line. That'll be Grice. Finds the shoulder of Calhoun. Rebound chipped away and inside the Titan zone. Lincoln setting up. Blocked by Callaway in the middle. Back up to the point. That's Wright. Wright picks that back up off Grice. Looks across, finds Vortman. Into the corner. McQueen Spence. Back up to right again. Chipped on net. That's blocked away by Schaus. Lincoln Moore in the corner looking for his man. Finds his man in front. Schaus got a toe on that one. That comes loose. Picked away by Callaway. Back up to the point. That's Right. That shot's blocked off Vander Elsen's feet into the corner. McQueen Spence back behind the net. Back up to right again. Right. Over to partner. That's Drobny. Drobny back into the middle. McQueen Spence, another quick shot. That one's kicked just wide. And out of play by Callaway, that goes into the netting. We'll hold the Titans on the change. Another new modification to the rules this year. Down to the left of Schaus inside the Titan zone. Stepping in there is Pizzoferrato against his counterpart, Clark. Pizzoferrato wins that back. Callaway has that picked off. Into the middle, off the arm of Schaus, finds the crossbar and out of play. Sometimes you got to be lucky to be good. Quick pass from the point there off Montesi. Into the middle of the ice found Elzinga. On the draw again. That was Papel. Papel against Clark. Papel wins it back. Titans get hemmed in again on the far wall. Here we go, Hill across the line. Papel has his shot deflected up into the net. And we'll line up and do it again, this time down in the Lincoln zone to the right of Calhoun. 5:02 on the clock, second period. 2-1 Lincolns. Down low, Papel. Wins that draw back. Puck battle lost. And away go the Lincolns. Down on Schaus to the backhand and just wide of the net. Cleaned out after the play. The Lincolns forward in the corner, picking up some spare parts. He's back into it. Far wall battle. Comes across. That's Capel firing it up. Papel in pursuit. Kelp looking for his man. That's picked off by Cunningham Lukes. Again, picked off by Mulholland again. After that is Oon. Oon one-hands that in the neutral zone. Across center. Here goes Oon around the Lincoln's defender. He's got a man. He finds Capel in the middle. Just out of reach. Both Capel and Craig there in the area. Enright back down. Across the Titans line. Loses the puck again. Capel trying to make the play cross ice. Enright back in there. That shot is blocked by Tavernese, and away goes Takis. Takis cross center. In low for Oon. Oon cuts back, looking for his man. Sweeps it down low. Grice is on it again. He finishes his check on McGregor. Takis at the point. And we'll have another stoppage in play. That'll be a penalty coming up. Chris DeMarco making the call. Looks like the Titans. Number 28, Bondi. 2 minutes for slashing. That's Bondi. For 2 or less on the slashing call. Some might say that's a long way from your net, taking a minor like that. Others say that's good hard living. Off a broken play there, Stippen drove the net through the legs, and nice save by goaltender Calhoun down there in the Lincoln's end. Lincoln's crisscross inside the Titan zone. Puck flipped into the middle, is picked away by Stippen and swept away back into the neutral zone. Back to recover is 14 Vortman for the Lincolns. Finds his man on the far side. Into the middle. It's 23 McDougall. That one swept away again. Oon on the puck. Just out of reach, poked away by the Lincoln's defender. That's 16 more. Vortman weaves his way through center, inside the Titan zone. Sets up top of the Titan zone. McQueen Spence. Looking for his man. Oh, nice save by Schaus there, kicking out their left leg. Nice low hard shot there, picked up quick. Schaus is going to cover that one up for a whistle. 2:01 on the clock. Power play Lincolns down to 22 seconds. Second period, 2-1 Lincolns. Face off here inside the Titan zone to the left of Schaus. Stepping in for the Lincolns, 23 McDougall. Hill for the Titans. Hill wins it back. Cunningham Lukes battles in the corner. That's swept back up to the point for the Lincolns. On that is Enright. Enright down to Colebrook. Back up to the top, that's Drobny. Drobny to McDougall, he drives that wide. Back to even strength. Into the play comes Bondy. Quick shot. Had nothing but net and somehow found the foot of Schaus. Puck goes wide and down into the Lincoln zone. Off the wall is Wright. Finds his man inside the Titan zone. That's Elzinga. He drops for 21. Heath. Into the corner goes Cunningham Lukes. Pins his man against the wall. He's got the puck. Off the wall, that's Capel. Capel and Bondy. Capel again, flips it ahead. Here goes Bondy. Bondy inside the Lincoln zone. Looking for a man, finds Cunningham Lukes. Cunningham Lukes down low. Peels his man away from the puck. Frank into the middle. Shots blocked in front. Down the ice looking for the stretch man. Takis picks that off over to Frank. Frank back inside the Lincoln zone. Quick shot off the shoulder of Calhoun. Off the shin pad of Cunningham Lukes behind the net. Swept away by the Lincoln's defense. Back out of the point is Takis. Takis to Frank. Frank leaves it there for Takis. Back into the middle. Here's Frank. Fans on his shot in the hash marks. Over to the wall. That's Colebrook. Colebrook takes a shot from Frank, flips the puck up. That's Stokely. Drops it back to the Lincoln's defender. Frank picks that puck up again off the wall and into the middle of the ice he goes. And that will do it for the second period as time winds down. Welcome back for the third period. 2-1 Lincolns here at the Wayne Gretzky Sports Center in Brantford. Puck drops and away go the Lincolns. Up the far wall, chipped inside the Titan zone. Takis is on that, flips it off the wall, just out of the reach of Un. Bondi chases that down. Quick pass D to D off the wall inside the Lincoln zone. Flipped up the wall, knocked down by Craig. Bondi flips that back inside the Lincoln zone. That's Kelp. Kelp over to Montesi. Back over to Kelp, flipped up into the Titan zone. Lincoln's McDougall throws that in down low. That's knocked off again by Takis. Picked up by Bondi over to Craig. Inside the Lincoln zone, that's Bondi. Quick shot on net, swept away by Calhoun to the far wall of Stippen. He swings it in down low. That's right for the Lincolns. Back up to the point, just out of the reach of Mulholland. Frank down the far wall, slides that in down low. He's not happy he was taken down off of his feet. Up the near wall here goes Drobny, throws it down low. That's picked up by Cunningham Lukes. He fires at the length of the ice. Kim Lemay beats that icing out, flips it to the middle just off of Frank, back into the corner. Recovered by the Lincolns. Up the wall from Mulholland to Frank. Frank into the middle. Chipped away by Kim Lemay. Back inside the Titan zone and smothered by Schaus. Face off in the Titan zone to the right of Schaus. Stepping in to take that is Papel against Clark. Clark wins that back. On that is Heath. Papel in pursuit again, forces his man to dump the puck in. Callaway back over to Mavi. Mavi loses the puck into the corner. Papel picks that up and sends it to the length of the ice. In the race there for icing. Puck will come back down inside the Titan zone. And that'll go to the right of Schaus, as selected by the Lincolns. Papel will step in once again. And he draws Clark. Here we go. Gordon steps in, drops the puck. Papel back to Mavi. Mavi over to Callaway. Callaway into the middle of the Titan zone. That's flipped off the glass again by Hill. Hill sidesteps his man. Back to Mavi. Mavi finds Capel. Capel inside the Lincoln zone down low. On that was Papel. He swept it to the front of the net, and that was pushed back by Calhoun. Over to the wall was Hill. Lincolns recover, and down the ice goes Heath. Lincoln's down low, that's Clark. He's put into the wall by Papel. Sweeping out into the middle was Heath. That puck is swatted away and recovered by Callaway. Up to Mavi. Mavi rink wide for Hill. He chips the puck in down low inside the Lincoln zone. Lincoln's worked out rink wide to Heath. Heath looking for his man. Chipped in by McQueen Spence. Recovered by Takis inside the Titan zone. Picked off again by the Lincolns. That's 14 Vortman. Vander Elzen wins the puck battle. Flips it outside the Titan zone. Back down into the Lincolns. Up the far wall. That's Lincoln Moore. He fires it in down low. Takis recovers that loose puck. Vander Elsen on the far wall, backhand into the wall. Vander Elsen will chase that down inside the Lincoln zone. That's Montesi. Back to Lincoln Moore. Vortman through center. Inside the Titan zone. He's picked up by Mulholland. Moore, far side for the Lincolns, down low. Back to the crease and swept aside just out of the reach of McQueen Spence. Back up to the point. Lincoln step back in. Another quick shot on net. That's kicked away by Schaus. Up to the point. That's Drobny. Finds his man down the wall. McQueen Spence again across the top of the Titan zone. Vortman finds the pinching D. Down low inside the Titan zone and back. The puck comes outside of the Titan zone into the neutral zone. Right. Up the wall to Vortman. Vortman to Moore. Chips it inside the Titan zone. That's picked up by Cunningham Lukes to Mulholland. Mulholland cross ice. He finds Bondi and that shot goes just wide. Lincoln's on the quick back there inside the Titan zone. Ready to the point. On the shot is McGregor, and that's picked up by Schaus and smothered for a whistle. Five minutes gone here in the third period. Lincolns lead the Titans 2-1. Out of town scoreboard. As Kim LeMay steps in and wins the draw to Callaway. Callaway sweeps it over to Mavi. Lets that go to Frank. Frank fires on net. Big save by Schaus. Nice release by Frank there. Schaus just inadvertently kick save that over to the far side and back down inside the Lincoln zone they go. Ready, back down the wall again. That's Enright on the far side. Down low to Mavi. Mavi works his way past two checks. Up to the point, that's kept in by McMillan. Ready, down in the corner. Slides it back down low. Over there is Enright. Over to Frank. Frank battles against Ready against the wall. Mavi comes away with it. Mavi up the wall to Stippen. Stippen back to Callaway. Callaway up to Mavi. Mavi fires the puck down. That's picked off and back inside the Titans zone comes Stokely. That shot just over the Titans net. Picked off at the line by Holzcheck. And Schaus will smother that once again for another whistle. Well, as I was saying, out of town scoreboard, we got the Caledonia Corvairs now up at the end of 2-5-4 on the Air Centennials. The Titans home opener guests on the 13th. Moving over to Hamilton, St. Catharines has found their legs, so to speak. 6-3 now Falcons, end of two. Nationals and Sarnia are 5-2 at the end of the second. And here we got a 2-1 score. Lincoln's leading the Titans. 12:30 to go in the third period. Back down here inside the Lincoln zone. Capel sweeps it back in down low. Sorry, that was Papel. Papel down low for Capel. Capel just out of reach, and the Lincolns skate away through the neutral zone. Nice finish check there by Tavernese. Knocks his man down. Sweet play by Hill to Pizzaferrato. Just out of reach. Takis takes a shot from behind from the Lincoln Stokely. Chipped inside the Titan zone. Takis is on it again. He's up the wall to Vander Elsen. Vander Elsen using his speed. Picked up there by Wright. Puck slides inside the Lincoln zone. Down across center is Clark inside the Titan zone. Another quick shot on net picked off by Schaus. Puck's flipped up on the wall by Vander Elzen. They're calling that a high stick by the Lincolns. Face-off coming just outside the Lincoln zone in the neutral zone. Real change of fortunes there for Hamilton tonight. Up 3-1 at the end of one, finding themselves trailing now 6-3. Just trying to take a quick look at the game center here to see what's going on in that matchup. As Craig steps in on the draw. One back by the Lincolns. That's Will Wright. Wright over to partner Drobny. Up ahead on the right side. Knocked down was Heath. Craig picks up his man down low behind the Titans net. Cunningham Lukes picks up the puck. Tries a flip pass. That's knocked away again by the Lincoln's forward 17, Elzinga. And the puck has found the back of the net. Well, you look down for a second and you look back up and the referee was pointing at the net. I'm not quite sure what happened there. We're taking a quick look at the video. A little flip shot on net. Appears to have found the back of the net behind Brock Schaus here. 3-1 lead Lincolns. Call from the box. Has number 5, Will Wright, for his second of the game. This time the puck being shot from the offensive zone of the ice, finding its way to the back of the net. Out of 8:57 of the third period. Lincoln's carrying the play again down inside the Titan zone. And we'll hold for an icing. So upon further review, shot from the point found its way under the arm of Schaus and into the back of the net, making it a 3-1 lead for the Lincolns here halfway through the third period. Titans in possession down low of the Lincoln zone, back up to the point. That's Cunningham Lukes. Frank picks up that loose puck, shoots it just wide, blocked, possibly in front there by a Lincoln's defender. That's McMillan in the corner. He knocks his man down. Chipped up on the wall, kept in by Lukes. Cunningham Lukes down low, Kim LeMay to Frank. Back to Stippen. Stippen, that shot goes off the dasher up in the air. Picked up by the Lincolns, knocked down and swatted away by Kim LeMay. That's recovered by McQueen Spence and lifted into the Titan zone. Back to recover is Cunningham Lukes. Down across the Lincoln zone, leaves for Frank. Frank back up to Cunningham Lukes, down low inside the Lincoln zone. Helping out there was Papel. Lincoln's recover, that's Reddy. Reddy flips it on net and Schaus will smother that for a whistle. .848 here in the third period. Titans win the draw back with Papel to Mavi. Mavi up the wall to Hill. Hill looking for Capel. That's chipped into the Lincoln zone. After that again is Papel. Flipped up the wall inside the Lincoln zone, just out of the reach of Enright. Chipped away by Callaway. Enright will flip that back down inside the Titan zone. Mavi leaves for Callaway. Callaway cycles back behind the net. He finds Hill. Hill looking cross ice. That puck is knocked down by a Lincoln defender, and after that is Capel. Papel in behind him. Back up to Reddy. Reddy across finds Enright. Across the Titan zone, 1 versus 5. Drops it back to the D-man just outside. We got a whistle for an offside. Lining up just outside the Titan zone will be Pizziferrato. He will step in as referee Moore drops the puck between Colebrook and Pizziferrato. Colebrook wins that back. D to D and back up the center, chipped into the Titan zone. Takis on it. Finds Tavernese. He fires it down the ice. After that is Vander Elsen. Icing is the call. We'll do it all again. So again, tomorrow night, Titans travel to St. Mary's, 7:30 puck drop. Should be a good one if you have time on a Friday night to make the trip out to St. Mary's and join us there for the game. Exhibition actions. Second of the home-and-home exhibition here versus St. Mary's. Sure we're all looking forward to another opportunity. Lots of time left here. 7:38 left in the third period. That shot went off the end wall and scooped up by Schaus. Face-off coming to the left. Pizziferrato again steps in against Colebrook. Puck is down. Tavernese is on it. Up to Takis. Takis finds Vander Elsen. Vander Elsen, Pizziferrato. Chipped inside the Lincoln zone. Lincoln's play catch behind their own net. Puck up the wall goes off Tavernese's stick. Out the play to Schaus. Schaus backhands it around the Titans' net. Into the corner. Vander Elsen finishes his check down there. Grice is on the puck. Grice is rubbed out again. Down low is Takis. Takis has his pocket picked in the middle of the zone. Quick shot on net again is tipped and picked up by Schaus. Kicked away. Recovered by Vander Elsen. Vander Elsen back to Tavernese. Finds Takis. Takis looking for the cross ice pass is picked off. That's picked up by Tavernese again. Bondi, Takis, Craig, out of play. Face-off just outside the Titan zone. Craig stepping in. He'll find Clark at the dot. Gustakis drops the puck. That draw is won by Clark. Again, flipped up into the netting. We'll line up and do it again. Gustakis gives way to Gordon. He'll pivot in. Setting up the wingers behind him, ready to drop the puck. Clark and Craig. Craig wins that back to Cunningham. Cunningham to Mulholland. Back to Cunningham. Soft backhand down low into the Lincoln zone. After that is Bondi. Puck slips through Bondi into the middle of the ice and down across the Titan zone. Inside the Titan zone, that's a misfire by Heath. He recovers the puck back off of Craig. Heath back down low. That pass to the front of the net was blocked by Cunningham Lukes. Recovered by Oon to Mulholland. Mulholland has that poked off his stick. Quick shot off the wall by Elzinga is kicked away by Schaus. Another quick shot by Heath is also kicked away. Mulholland recovers. Over to Takis. Back to Mulholland. Mulholland up the wall finds Stippen. Chipped in low. After that is Kim LeMay. Kim LeMay leaves for Stippen. Stippen back to Frank. Frank, quick shot is blocked by the Lincoln's defender. That was Montesi stepping in front of that one. Vortman down low inside the Titan zone. Finds his man Lincoln Moore. Backhand goes wide, picked up by Mavi, flipped out to center. Kim LeMay. Rink wide over Callaway. Callaway back up to Kim LeMay. Kim LeMay, quick shot off the blocker of Calhoun. Another shot there by Frank is off the blocker of Calhoun again. Flipped out to center. Everybody waiting for the puck to come down. Callaway jumps on top of that and fires it back in low the Lincoln zone. Calhoun sets it up behind the net for Montesi. Up to Moore. Moore, rink wide for Vortman. Vortman pushes off his check. Vortman recovers again. Back across again, looking for his man in front. Shoveled away by Callaway. Vortman again, down low. Back across the crease again, saved by Schaus, kicked away over to the far wall. Shoveled ahead by Drobny. Hill gains center, flips it in low on the Lincoln's line. Papel runs into his man. Hill's got it down low. Out front to Papel. Quick shot goes through the goalie, off the defenseman and wide. Nice opportunity there by Hill. Nice quick shot, low and hard. Everything we're looking for. Capel around the net. Flips that up off the defenseman's stick, and that is out of play. 3:30 left here in the third period. 3-1 Lincolns. Little life there from the Titans. Couple quick plays to the net. Stepping in here to the right of Calhoun will be Craig. Kostakis on the draw. McDougall. Craig wins that back. Picked up by Tavernese. Quick shot by Takis is smothered again by the goaltender Calhoun. Knocks off another 5 seconds. Kostakis leans in again, looking at Craig and McDougall. And it appears we have a timeout called by the Titans. 3:25 here in the third period. We'll be right back. Face-off down low inside the Lincoln zone. Little miscommunication there, pulling Schaus back to the bench. Little 6-on-5 action here for the Titans. Draw one to the wall. And flipped away by the Lincoln defender, that's Dorobny. Recovered by Frank. Frank to Stippen. Stippen has that poked away. Frank back to recover again. Over to Oon. Oon leaves that for Kim LeMay. Kim LeMay inside the zone. Flips it back to Frank. Frank tries to get inside. That puck is also swept away. Craig crosses center, flips it into the Lincoln zone. That's picked up by the Lincoln's defender and flipped up into the netting. It does not touch the netting and all the way down into the Titan zone. After that is Drobny again, all the way down inside the Titan zone. Picked up by Takis. Takis to Stippen. Stippen to Frank. Frank to Kim LeMay. And that is fired down the ice once again by the Lincolns, and this time it'll be icing. 2:15 remaining in the third period here. 3-1 Lincolns. Got a timeout called by St. Mary's this time. Down low inside the Lincoln zone. 2:15 on the clock, coming back after an icing here. 6-on-5 on the ice. Titans with 6. To the left of Calhoun, that puck is won back by McDougall into the Lincoln zone. Flipped up the wall, picked up by Hill. He's into the middle of the ice. He finds Mulholland. Mulholland trying to find a lane. Slides that down the wall to Capel. Bondy's on that. Capel, Bondy, Hill. 3-on-2 in the corner. Capel back up to Mulholland. He's into the middle again. Looking for his man. That's poked away again. Capel on the wall. Mulholland looking for a lane again. Capel goes for that. Back to Mulholland. Mulholland flips the puck at the net. Kicked away by the Lincoln's defender. That's Drobny again in front. Down low is Capel looking for Mulholland in the middle again. Mulholland's got it at the point again. Over to Tavernese. Tavernese works his way to the middle of the ice. He's knocked down. Papel swings his stick, puts that down low. That's Bondy after it. Papel back on it again. Tavernese at the top. Down low, that's swept up to Tavernese again. Back into the middle of the ice. He swings it across to Capel. Back to Frank. Frank's quick shot deflected just wide of the net. Over there's Papel. Papel over his stick from Hill. Back down low, Hill. Papel. Papel swings it back out front. That's just out of the reach of Capel. Tavernese. Down low to Papel. Papel in the corner, fighting off his check. Poked away again. Papel, backhand out of the corner to Bondy. Doesn't make it. Tavernese on the far side. Good bark. Nice save by Calhoun. That one swept aside again. Papel, nice shot in the top of the slot. Back up to Tavernese again one more time. Swept across by Hill. That's a quick shot on net. Again, all the way through over to Frank, and he can't get the shot off before time expires. 3-1 final here in Brantford. Hope you find the time to find us for the home opener on the 13th versus Ayr here at the Wayne Gretzky Center. Tomorrow night, St. Mary's exhibition action. Brantford Titans, St. Mary's Lincolns will do it all over again.